Park.
Hello and welcome to another riveting night of AniMondays with me, your host, Rodney Tompkins. And tonight we have a lot to discuss as far as anime news, a lot of rumors that have come out throughout the week, and that's what we mainly try to focus on every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. Many rumors and the latest and greatest in anime and gaming that have happened throughout the week. What you just heard, that song was from the Wii U game, exclusive game, Xenoblade Chronicles X, a sequel to a Wii game that launched a JRPG way back in 2013, one of the last few good Wii games that came out. And this was a sequel that came out toward the end of 2015, called Xenoblade Chronicles X. Really great soundtrack, amazing story, great soundtrack, great gameplay. And the composer was Hiroyuki Sawano. If you're familiar with him, I believe he worked on a lot of the soundtrack for Attack on Titan, and you know how amazing that anime soundtrack was. So that was a selection from Xenoblade Chronicles X called Man on Ship. If you like that song, the whole soundtrack is pretty amazing. So along with that, let's jump right into it. A lot has happened this week. Tonight we'll cover the latest if you're into Dragon Ball Z. The Dragon Ball Super episode that just aired was amazing. We got a lot to talk about that. Try to keep it spoiler free for those who haven't watched it yet or have yet to start the series. What we covered last week, Boku no Hero Academia. The third episode just aired this past Friday. Going to get a little info about that. Really great series. Also, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the latest season of that. I believe season 4, Diamond is Unbreakable is the title, and they have their episode 3 just aired recently, so we'll talk about that a little bit. And a little more on the Kingdom Hearts news and anime news, so just stick right here. We have a lot to discuss. If you have any questions throughout the show, feel free to call in at 313-868-0331 and just give me your opinion, your take, or just your general discussion topics for whatever you want to discuss tonight, whether it's the latest anime you've been watching, the latest game you've played, any manga you've read, any conventions or cons or cosplay you plan on doing in the near future. Just call down here. No judging. We're going to keep it clean. We're going to keep it fun. This is what this is all about. We're going to look forward to and address here all the otaku here in Detroit. We have a huge fan base here, and it's not really a lot of outlets aside from internet and the occasional conventions and cons we have here. So I want to do it publicly. If you're too shy or don't want to call in, you can always tweet me at Big Badada. That's BIGBADADA, or hit me up on Facebook, message me, whatever you like, whatever makes you feel comfortable. It's all open here. So with that, let's get right in. This past Sunday, episode 39 of Dragon Ball Super. If you're not familiar with it, it is a continuation of the Dragon Ball Z anime that ended way back, probably the early 2000s, with the final arc, the Majin Buu arc, and the GT series that preceded that wasn't really canon, as people say, because the creator had no involvement with it. It was just the animation team kind of continuing the show due to popularity. He ended the series at the Buu saga, so most people don't consider GT canon, but if you like it, it's still a great series. Animation's a little off, but great series overall. And just recently, the creator decided to continue this epic series. Dragon Ball Z is one of the most well-known anime, probably the most well-known anime in the world in history. And the only thing that ever come close to that, as far as success and sales-wise in Japan or America, is One Piece, which is currently an ongoing series as well. But if you recently watched the latest episode of Dragon Ball Super, let me tell you now, the series is officially worth watching. If you've been hesitant to watch it, if you decided that, you ended the series backward in the official ending in the Majin Buu saga, erase the thought, eliminate the thought you had when you decided not to watch the series. Go check it out now. It's only 38 or 39 episodes in. Next Sunday will be the 40th episode. And admittedly, it did have a slow start between them just retreading the 2 movies they released on DVD and in theaters. The first 30 episodes or so were just kind of reenactments of the 2 movies they did, and most people were a little upset about that, but they had to space it out because the manga, the comic book, isn't very far from where the anime is, which means the anime production team has to have enough source material to create 2 or 3 episodes or 1 episode a week. But if the comic writer can't write enough content, they have nothing to go on. And the comic and the series is very close, and most people are speculating that it's going to have a pause or a hiatus, or that they're going to do filler arcs. If you're familiar with filler, they just kind of throw in a random story arc or element to space out and give the author time to draw more and create more story from the comic. Some people are speculating that, but as of now, it's 39 episodes in, only subbed. We've got a little info about the dub coming soon too, but 39 episodes in, it's a tournament arc, and I can honestly say we haven't had an arc in Dragon Ball Z this hype since the Cell saga, because that was the last real tournament arc before even Dragon Ball, the original series, when Goku, the main character, was a little younger. That series had a lot of tournament arcs. It was more focused on martial arts and less about, big enemies that they have to fight and defeat and new techniques. It was more about the tournament arcs and the main character getting stronger himself. And when it got to Dragon Ball Z, it got a little more sci-fi, a little more over the top, not much, less technical really, and more about the over-the-top way they defeated the enemies or powered up. So this Dragon Ball Super series is kind of hearkening back to the Dragon Ball days of really sophisticated choreographed fights and really in-depth battles. And this latest episode achieved the hype that fans haven't seen since probably the Cell saga of Dragon Ball Z, which was back in 2005, 2006. So definitely check it out. New techniques are coming out. Not even the villain. He's not really villain, just the team they're fighting in the tournament has this crazy new technique, something they've never fought before. And just watching the main characters, Goku and Vegeta, adapt to this dude, it's really amazing. So if you've watched the episode or just have any opinion on that, give me a call down here at 313-868-0331, or you can tweet your question, either one, and just let me know how you feel about this latest episode. It's really getting good. And actually, we have a tweet already. Let's see what we have. So it's from DJ I never realized how to pronounce it. DJ Akax, I believe. DJ Akax. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But his question to me on Twitter was, so about those rumors about Wii U to NX ports, games like Splatoon, Smash 4, Zelda U, etc. Here's the thing. The Wii U hasn't been doing, that's Nintendo's latest console, it has not been doing that great sales-wise, marketing-wise. It's been kind of, I don't want to call it a flop, but it definitely has not been doing well. And the company knows this, and they're already in the works for the successor to this system, their new system. And the issue is, the Wii U launched in 2012, a year earlier than the PS4 and the Xbox One. So it had a year of prep and basically time to get sales and market it, but the marketing was so bad for this thing, most people didn't even know it was a new system. They just thought it was this tablet screen you attach or an accessory for your Wii, which was why the marketing was so bad for this and why the sales didn't do as great as they did. So it's been rumored a lot this year. In fact, I have a list of rumors I'm going to check right now, and DJ AKAX wants to know about what my opinion is on all these rumors that have been going in and out throughout the weeks. And there's so many rumors, it's hard to tell which ones are legitimate. You got rumors saying there's going to be a 12 gigabyte RAM, which means the internal hard drive will be much bigger and you can hold a lot more hardware, software, and apps and stuff like that. There's rumored that it'll be 12 gigs. Now, that's a lot compared to, it's comparable or even greater than the PS4 and the Xbox One's RAM, which is 8 gigs, almost double, really. And Nintendo has never been known to have powerful hardware. Their consoles have always been the underpowered console as far as the the console wars between Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. Nintendo consoles have always been underpowered, but had this unique gimmick that they used to sell the system. And the gimmicks have kind of died down. With the Wii U was the motion control. With the Wii U, their latest one, it was the tablet screen. And people are believing and speculating that they're going to stop with the gimmicks and just harken back to good old controller, where you just get a system, you get a normal controller, and you can play all the AAA third-party and first-party games. So people are speculating that the RAM is going to be bigger than the current Xbox One and PS4. They're even saying ports are going to be coming, like Deus Ex, if you're familiar with that. An RPG, it's not an RPG, I believe it's a action adventure. I think it is have RPG elements, but by the team Square Enix. Deus Ex, really good series. Battlefield 5, which isn't even out yet, so it's in the works for current gen, like PS4 and Xbox One, but apparently it could get a Nintendo NX port. NX is the code name so far for this latest Nintendo console that's supposedly coming out soon, or this year actually. So you could be seeing games on par with the PS4 and the Xbox One being ported successfully over to this latest system without any gimmicks, without Wii motion controls or tablet gimmicks. It's just going to be a straightforward, if you choose to purchase a Nintendo console, you have the right to play these third-party games in the normal way. You shouldn't have to adapt to the gimmick of that console generation or Nintendo's console generation. So even games like Battlefield 5, Mass Effect Trilogy, if you're not familiar with the Mass Effect games, I've played them. People tell me they're amazing. I have to get into them myself, but the trilogy, it's had about 2 or 3 trilogies come out already. Just the first 3 games, and the 4, I think it's rumored that Mass Effect 4 will be coming, but apparently they're going to do a collection of the first 3 games, and that could be coming to the NX as well. And even games that are currently on the Nintendo Wii U, the Wii U has some really great games, like exclusive games that you can't get on either the PS4 or the Xbox One, like Mario Maker. They finally have a simulator for you to create 2D Mario games, and if you've grown up with that, you've always wanted to develop and make these levels for your friends to play or for your family to play, and they finally made that only on the Wii U. You got Super Smash Bros., my personal favorite game. I play it competitively. I go to tournaments. I haven't won any, but the environment is great. The hype is always there for Smash Bros. People argue that it's not a legitimate fighting game, but what really makes a legitimate fighting game? The mechanics. Nintendo created a fighter, a party fighter, sure, but a fighter. They created a new mechanic, and at the time, you only had this Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat type mechanic that fighters were known for. Nintendo created this new mechanic to where it's not about lowering the HP, it's about knocking your opponent off screen, and that really changed the game. So depending on how you play it, you can play it for fun, you can play it competitively, doesn't matter as long as you have fun. And back to the rumors on the NX, ports of this console, because the Wii U didn't do that great this generation, it's rumored that they're going to get a lot of ports, and porting the current games on the Wii U to the NX, 1080 or higher quality, or maybe just an exact port, you never know. So if you bought Smash Bros. For the Wii U this gen and you love it, you love playing it, people come over, you play it all the time, and you're interested in buying the NX as well, they may give you some type of deal to where you can just get a discount for the NX version of it when they port it over, or it'll just transfer over if you bought it digitally. So definitely a lot of options coming with the Wii U. There's no telling. And the thing is with this, with the NX, not the Wii U. Wii U is already out. The NX is the rumored one that's coming out hopefully this year, because it's kind of needed. The Wii U, I don't want to say it's done, but it's being left behind. It's slowly building up hype, but at this point, it's been out for it's been out for 4 years. That's an average console life cycle. Like the average consoles last 4 years before they create the next generation. The exception was last gen, because the PS3, 360, and the Wii lasted about 8 years, I think. That was a long console generation cycle. But the NX kind of needs to come out. We've been waiting for Zelda Wii U. We remember, if you were here last week, that, it's been rumored for the Wii U and hasn't been any word of mouth on that. They're just being really low-key with it, and I believe it'll get a Twilight Princess treatment. If you're familiar with that one, when it launched, it came out for the GameCube and the Wii. I think they'll do the same with Zelda NX. They'll do a dual launch. If you still have a Wii U, you can get it on that. If you decide to purchase the NX system, and you want to play it on the higher powered system, you can purchase it on that as well, except with a few more extra perks and graphic improvements, whatever you want to decide. So what is your opinion on that? The NX rumors, we got a lot coming out every week. This week was loaded with them. I still have a few left if you want to call in and tell me about that. The number is 313-868-0331, and just give me your take on either what you believe the Wii U will be. You think it'll be as powerful as the Xbox One and PS4? You think it won't be? It'll have another gimmick that Nintendo is known for? Give me your opinion on that. So back to the Dragon Ball Super episode 39. really hype, really added technical fighting to the series, which the series is not known for. It's more of a, well, ever since it hit Dragon Ball Z, the original Dragon Ball series was really technical and focused really on the martial arts aspect of the main character, how he's training to become the great martial artist. When the next series, Dragon Ball Z, started, he grew up, and it kind of got into more sci-fi, blast attacks, charging, power of, determination, not really technical fighting martial arts that a martial arts series should be known for. And this latest episode of Dragon Ball Super, episode 39, really added the technical fighting elements that the series hasn't seen in a long time, and even brought back a new technique. When I tell you, I don't want to say I called it, but I had a feeling he'd do this. Speaking of calling, we have a call. Let's see. How you doing?
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine. Who am I speaking with?
This is Nemesio.
Say that. Nemesio, I remember. How you doing, man?
Yo, how you doing?
I am doing great. So have you caught this latest episode?
Alright. But yeah, dude. How you been doing?
Episode 39, right? That's the one you watched?
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
Man, tell me. I think it was the best episode so far. What do you say?
I think it's really good. Like, as you said, it was a really slow startup, but like, boy, whenever it got to this arc, it was just, it's blowing my mind.
Man.
Like, I know GT was like a whole like separate thing. It's not canon or whatnot. Like,
right.
It didn't have that feel like at Dragon Ball Z. This one, it's really good.
I hear you. Like, even when you go back and watch GT, you can nitpick at it. Like, if I went back and watched it now, I'd be like, this is off, it's animation, blah, blah, blah. But it was overall, for me as a kid growing up, it was more Dragon Ball Z, and that's all I cared for. But when you look back, it wasn't that great. Dragon Ball Super has Toriyama himself working on it. He may be old, about in his 80s, I think. He's forgotten half of the stuff that Dragon Ball consists of, but he is making this series to turn out really well.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. Like, I got into Dragon Ball Z maybe like 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
And like, even that blew my mind. And like, with all this recent stuff, I wasn't expecting it to be like something like this good. And I'm glad I watched it. And I'm really surprised that it's actually doing this good, even with the newer episodes.
I hear you, man. So you didn't watch DBZ growing up? You kind of just got into it with like the past few years?
Yeah, it's like I grew up on like mainly cartoons, not like the anime type stuff. Like I grew up on Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network.
I get you.
But like, yeah, I just recently gotten into anime like about 4 years ago. And I like trying to get through all the mainstream stuff first before I start going into like, more obscure stuff.
I get you. Honestly, for most people, Dragon Ball Z isn't the series I reckon. Like for me, I love Dragon Ball Z. It's one of my personal favorite series of all time. But I would not recommend it to someone who has never watched. And I'm surprised you started with that. Usually, for somebody who's never watched anime, doesn't even know what it is. Well, you knew what it was. You just never watched it. But when I'm recommending anime to a casual, quote unquote casual, I have to give them something short and sweet. I gotta recommend the Death Notes and the Gurren Lagann, the Code Geass. 50 episodes or less. I'm glad you started on Dragon Ball Z because it's worth it though.
Yeah, I actually started with the original Dragon Ball like when he was a little kid. That's the one I started with because I can't just like go to like Dragon Ball Z. You have to actually get into the whole series, like the series as a whole.
Right.
And, yeah, it's a really good series. I'd recommend it to anyone. But yeah, as you said, like there are some people that like won't find it as interesting as some of the current stuff.
Yeah. And even it's been rumored that, he may even, no spoilers for anybody who hasn't, if you've watched the series, you know who this character is, but it's been rumored that a certain Saiyan prince's son may return in this later arc. I'm like, if it is true, I am hype. That's not spoilers, because I don't think the manga is that far, so anybody listening who's mad at me for giving spoilers, it's not a spoiler, it's being rumored. So if you're familiar with Trunks, the character, Vegeta's son, back in the Cell Saga, he showed up from the future in order to, actually the Android Saga, what is the same saga, actually, whatever. He showed up from the future, and he was a really cool character, probably people's favorite character. And it's being rumored that he may return from the future and be an intricate part of this next arc. So, are you hyped, or do you think that's true, Nemesio?
I don't know. I haven't really heard that rumor yet. So, if that's true, then I'm pretty pumped for it.
I hear you, man. Because the whole element of time travel is kind of forbidden by the character Jocko, and they're kind of cracking down when it comes to time travel in this series, because it can mess up the universe and throws things out of line. So time travel is really something that kind of confuses fans. Like, time travel usually confuses me out. I usually hate stories that implement time travel in parallel universes, but DBZ did it in a simpler way, and I like it.
Yeah, because usually time travel in TV shows or anything, it just ruins some of the story kind of. But the way they've been doing it, it's been they've been doing it right.
Right.
They've been doing the butterfly effect type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that because that kind of ruins a show. It just makes it way too confusing.
That's the thing. It's I don't want to pick at Marvel and DC, but that's what DC's issue kind of is. A lot of parallel universes, time travel. We don't like what happened. Let's just go back in time and erase it. But that's how they do it. It's cool if you're a fan of it. I'm like, man, I get the continuity right. Just stay with that universe or that story, whatever you call it.
Also, what is your opinion on you play Smash Bros. Competitively, as do I. What is your opinion on the character Bayonetta getting banned in Spain and Russia?
Oh, Bayonetta. Let me just fill anybody in who's not familiar with her. Bayonetta was a action game in vein of God of War and Devil May Cry. Same team as Devil May Cry, matter of fact. Really high, fast action gameplay, amazing combos. And recently, the team behind Smash Bros. Is a great compilation game of all these different characters. They decided to implement her in as DLC. And she plays just like she does in her game. She has combos, almost 0 to death combos. She can wipe you out in one hit and just connect a chain of attacks. And people who play Smash Bros. Competitively are not big fans of this character because they feel like she's overpowered. She's better tier-wise, better than the rest of the roster. And people who play this game competitively and go to tournaments find that characters who know how to main this, or people who know how to main this character, have an advantage over ones who play a lower tier character or lower ranked character, and it's kind of, they think it's an advantage, and they're banning her from local tournaments. Like, if this upcoming Apex that's in June, Apex is a annual tourney every year. They host Street Fighter and Smash Bros. Tourney. They could potentially ban that character. You're not allowed to use her. You can use every other character. My issue is that I play the game competitively. I haven't played a Bayonetta player that I find impossible to beat. We may go back and forth. I may lose more matches, but I do win some. You have to learn the matchup. You have to adapt. That's what all fighting games is about. You have to adapt to this character. And she's been out, Nemesis, 3 months, I think?
Yeah.
Not even that long, and people are already saying she's overpowered. The matchup's too overbalanced. I'm like, no, give it time. If you don't, and in worst case, she is overpowered, and she is the best character. You have to look forward to a patch. The team will either patch her and make her worse, or you just pick that main character up and you play with her. If you have such a big issue with her being too good, you use her. When you play games competitively for money, you kind of have to erase this whole sense of I'm having fun, it's a fun game. You are playing seriously. You are playing to win. You are trying to win this pot of $1,000+. And if you have to resort to dropping your favorite character and picking up the best character in the game, you may just have to. I personally don't like to do that, but when it comes to playing competitively, you might have to. So do you know how to use her, Nemesis? You've tried her out, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been traveling to different states to play, but my thing with Bayonetta is she is overpowered, but as you said, you do have to adapt. Whenever Sheik was the thing or Diddy was the thing,
right?
We adapted. There were people that whined, they got nerfed, but even then, it really wasn't as bad. Whenever you look at a game let's say Brawl or Melee, their sponsors, Meta Knight, they didn't get updates. They had to actually adapt. We have a different thing to where we can get patches, and it's just adapting for the newer people coming in. It's just some people just don't understand, I guess, but it's just something that you have to get used to. But I honestly think Bayonetta is a little crazy. I've played a few Bayonettas that are just so difficult to get around.
I admit, yes, you are right. She is ridiculous to adapt to, but I think it is possible. We have to give it more time.
Yeah, it's just Mm. She just has all the tools to write for her. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, they did go all out with her. Like they gave her everything she's known for in her original series. So I'm like, I respect that. Props to that. But
Yeah.
I'm like, man, like with Ryu, Ryu is from Street Fighter. He's from an entirely different series. Not even, well, he was on Nintendo system, but no way associated with Nintendo. He's from a whole other fighting game. They put Ryu on Smash Bros. And they added his physics and mechanics from his game. But his game is a normal fighting game, so it works. He's not the best character in the game. It's balanced the way they put him in. But with Bayonetta, they made her combo crazy, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Man, but hopefully, I don't want her to get patched. I just want people to adapt. I can use a Ryu, and I can go head up with a Bayonetta, but it is hard. It's a hard matchup, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, man. All right, man, I'm going to go ahead and let you go and do your thing.
All right, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Keep it up, dude.
All right, yep, thank you.
All right, peace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're familiar with the Smash Bros. Series, definitely check it out. It's great to play casually, but they do have a competitive scene, so even if you play fighters like Tekken, Street Fighter, if you play those are quote-unquote legitimate fighting games. But Smash has its own fan base. It's really taken off. Definitely check it out. But, Dragon Ball Super, check out that episode 39. It was really great. Now, more anime news. If you're familiar with the anime Ghost in the Shell, it aired on Adult Swim back in the early 2000s, maybe, and probably ended around 2006, 2000, or earlier than that, maybe 05. Had about 3 different series, a couple movies about this secret. I haven't watched it in years, so I honestly can't really recall the story. I know Major Kusanagi, I believe, is a Secret Service, secret agents and spies and the corruption of the government, stuff like that. It's kind of deep. When I was a kid watching it, it bored me, but the art style looked really cool. It has this really realistic art style. Basically, crime, corruption, this government organization who's tasked with defeating and stopping crime syndicates. And I think the whole premise is that humans don't exist anymore. We have another call. Let's see. How you doing?
All right. This is MC Gina, Word Explosion Outreach Ministries. How are you?
How are you? Can you say that one more time, please?
This is MC Gina, Word Explosion Outreach Ministries, on-air personality for WHCR. I just listening to your show tonight. I'm enjoying it live on my smartphone on 88.1 FM. You had a very interesting discussion. I'm really enjoying it.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the support. This is something a lot of people don't really discuss and talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Because I gotta really. Yeah, it's like we need to support our independent radio personality. I support all the radio personalities, independent, Renee stepping out on stage, such as yourself. And, like I said, I'm MC Gino, and I am radio MC. We're on every other Thursday from 7 to 8. I'm on every other Thursday, 88.1 FM.
That's what's up. You heard the man. Check him out.
Yeah, just definitely. And then, like I said, we got to have you on one Thursday. And you can discuss whatever subject matter it is, because like I said, I try to catch your show every Monday, whenever I'm not busy.
Wow, I really appreciate that.
I mean, quite enjoyable, because we need to support our black independent radio personalities in TV. If we don't support them, where will we be? We have to. I mean, if we don't show enough support, I feel like we don't show enough support, especially to the young independent. Because, I'm 30 myself, and I've been in the independent radio industry for almost 12 years.
That's nice.
With R.J. and Hendry. So, definitely let's support. I'm going to support your show. And what is the title of your show?
AniMondays. A-N-I Mondays.
Okay. Or AMI Mondays. Okay, I support AMI Mondays every Monday from 7 to 8 on 88.1 FM the PHP. And also support Word Explosion Outreach Ministries, Renee stepping out on faith. Minister Malik Shabazz, which is on television.
Amen.
As well, 9 at midnight. And also, definitely, I'm going to be watching you every Monday. We really got to. Let's support one another. But that's Word Explosion Outreach Ministries every other Thursday, 7 to 8. I'm on the 28th. I'll be back on the 28th, and then also May 12th. And then my boss, Pastor William, will be on, which will be this coming Thursday coming up as well. So support. So I'm going to have Judge Deborah Thomas on the 28th. We're talking about expungement. So let's support.
Let's support. You heard the man.
Independent radio personality.
Amen.
Let's support WHPR. Let's do it. This is MC Gino, Word Expression Outreach Ministry. My main man, you take care, and I'm about to get back to listening to your show.
I appreciate the call. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. And, like you said, we really have to – I appreciate any and all support I get for this show. This is something I'm comfortable talking about, and I just love speaking about it with other people. And I'm really open to any discussions you want to discuss, whether it's anime, gaming, even American TV shows, religion, whatever you want to discuss. I really want to get this out in the open. Here in Detroit, we're really coming up. The city's coming back on its feet. It's had a tough time throughout the years, but really culture's coming back. Businesses are opening back up, and I would love the support of anybody who loves my show. And I'm actually going into doing a little research into voice acting and looking into radio and broadcasting to do as a career. So you may hear me on your favorite anime. You may hear me on a commercial. I'm looking into it. Always check out, see if you can recognize old Rodney Tompkins on the radio or whatever you want to see me in. So definitely check that out. Thank you for your call, and we appreciate. Check out his show Thursday nights. Really great. Gotta support everybody. We appreciate the call, and definitely check it out. Got to keep God first. That's one thing I've always done, and I respect to a T. Grew up in the church, apostolic way off of Charlevoix, and I forget the cross street, St. Jean and Charlevoix. Grew up in the church, PK, a pastor's kid, so I had to grow up with a certain standard to keep. Keep it professional, keep it real, and just keep God first. That's what I've always done my whole life, and it's gotten me this far. So definitely support his show, support mine every Monday, 7 to 8. And give me a call in if you want, 313-868-0331, and just let me know what's on your mind this Monday night for AniMondays. Back to Ghost in the Shell. The anime aired maybe back in 2001, 2000, and then aired up until maybe 05, 06. And really good series. Anybody who's watched it is a really big fan of it. I bring this up because we have another caller. Busy night. Hello? Must have lost him. Yeah. Let's see. Ghost in the Shell. I bring this up because apparently DreamWorks and Paramount Pictures, American studios, don't get mad, have decided to pick this up for a live action adaptation. And every week we discuss how America should leave the Japan animated series alone. I mean, they haven't done it right yet. Japan makes all the anime and games we love and cherish. And America, the fan base is here. Americans play them too and watch them too. But when Hollywood decides to make their own adaptation to an anime or a Japanese cartoon, it never sticks to the source material, and it's never as good as it could be. Heck, even when Japan makes live-action adaptations to movies, they aren't that great, but we accept them because it's Japan and they can do what they want with their product and their culture. We accept their movie may be a little bad, but when America takes it and butchers it, we are very offended by that. But it's not rumored, it's actually in the works. The movie is being filmed and is hopefully trying to be released on March 31st, 2017. Ghost in the Shell, main character, Major Kisanagi, sorry about that. Motoko Kisanagi is the main character. She's the main agent of the series who was also, that's what I want to discuss. No humans don't exist in this series. Everyone has prosthetics, and the human brain still works, I think, and it's still active. It's just in these prosthetic bodies. Human flesh has been basically wiped out, and they have to put their brains in these artificial life forms, basically. So humans no longer are around, the human flesh at least, and they work through these prosthetics and artificial body parts. So it's really cool, really sci-fi, epic fight scenes, gun battles, and really deep as far as story goes. And Scarlett Johansson, if you're familiar with her from the Avengers movie, she plays Black Widow, I think. She'll be playing the main character. And they released a single screenshot of what she looks like with the dyed black hair. She looks like Major Kusanagi. I admit it may work, so that it may be good. So they really got the casting was A1 on that, so that'll be good. And the director, I believe, is Rupert Sanders. I'm not familiar with him, but he's worked on the recent Snow White and the Seven Huntsmen movie. I didn't see it. I wasn't interested in seeing it, but it may be good. Call in if you think if you saw it and give me an opinion on how well he directs movies. Give me a call, 313-868-0331, and let me know what you think about either that movie or Ghost in the Shell being made into live action. I mean, it's almost like I don't want to call the series irrelevant. It's like I discuss this on my weekly podcast. I also have a weekly podcast that comes on every Sunday night. We try to post it every Sunday. Me and my friend Javante, he's an audio engineer. He's great at what he does, mixes music, guy's great. But we discuss nostalgia and how basically creativity has really died down in recent years. Everything is kind of just a reboot or a remake. Nothing is creative, even from Hollywood to TV to movies. Nothing's really creative anymore. Everybody's just bringing back things that they remember were good or that they liked back in the day. Even back in the writer's drought of '07, where script writers and screenwriters weren't making movies anymore. They're just making reboots. It feels like even in 2016, that is still the case. We have another caller. Let's take this. How you doing? Hey, who am I speaking with?
It's Martez.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, it's Martez.
Hey, Martez, how you doing, man?
Doing all right, man. Just heard you getting about getting to talk about the whole Ghost in the Shell thing. Yeah, about that whole thing. It's kind of crazy because I hear that they're going to be using CGI to make Scarlett Johansson appear Asian. I don't know if you just started talking about that, but yeah, did you hear about that one?
So wait, you're saying? Oh, also, can you speak up just a little bit, just so I can hear you better? But are you telling me they're using CG to make her Asian?
Yeah, they are using some computer graphics to make Scarlett Johansson appear Asian.
That's weird. I didn't even know about that because I knew that, you know, in the anime she's Asian, obviously, and you know when they get an American actor, it's like, how are you going to do this with the protagonist was Asian in the series, and now you got an American actor. I admit she does look like her a little bit, but I did not know they were just going to use CG to make her Asian. That's weird.
It's not full out CGI, but they are going to try to make her appear more Asian. I don't know how they're going to, like, isn't that like Yellowface?
You know that, I mean, I'm like 50-50 on that. I'm like, I appreciate that they're doing that in order to stick to the source material, but then it's like, why couldn't you just get an Asian actor that looks like the character? You know, you don't have to. Scarlett Johansson is already a A-class actor. It probably cost a lot just to get for this movie. Why not get a lower ranked actor who's actually Asian and looks more like the character than Scarlett Johansson does? But I guess I'm 50-50 on it. I appreciate them doing that, but then it's like, why didn't you just get somebody who actually looks like her? So thanks for telling me about that. I didn't even know.
It's like you could have got the kid that played as Knives Child from Scott Pilgrim to play as Major.
Yeah, because, the Knives from Scott Pilgrim. If you're familiar with that movie, great movie adapted from the American comic book. I forget the writer's name, but
Ryan Lee O'Malley.
Yeah. So, yeah, they could have really got her. That, like, she may be a little too short. How tall? Major Kusanagi always looked kind of tallish.
She was, but then was she like always like some type of Lucha Heroes on it? I don't know, man, but dang, wait, she was pretty tall, like what? I would say like 5'8".
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, maybe that is a little too tall, but Knives definitely would have worked. From the black hair to the short black hair to the eyes, man, she would have worked. Good call on that.
Yeah, like that was like my first pick. Like, dang. Why not get some chick that plays Knives Child?
Man, Hollywood is nuts, man. They just want to get AAA actors that know. Maybe I guess as far as acting, you do have to get somebody that's credible and somebody who does have talent. So Scarlett Johansson is great in all the movies she's in, from Avengers to some other movie. I can't think of any, but most recently Avengers. But yeah, she's good, and honestly, she does. Yeah, she looks like her enough to where I'll let it pass.
Yeah. I mean, with playing as Major, and I'm trying to see it as her being from Black Widow to Major. It's like they got their whole. It's kind of like in a way they have the same mentality, where they could like she really don't have to switch up her role a lot. But it's like that's just me personally thinking, because I haven't like watched Ghost in the Shell in like a long time. First time we watching that show, I did not know what was going on. I just turned it on like, oh, hey, cartoon. Oh, this is not cartoon. This is something very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, tell you the truth, I want to see how it play out, because I don't want it to be like Dragon Ball Evolution.
Woo! You done brought it up, man. You done brought it up.
Because I think that's why they got it like a good actress, so it won't end up like Dragon Ball Evolution.
Right. That whole movie was just a shipwreck. I don't know where the idea was for that. That was, like I mentioned, that was in 2007 when Hollywood was going through this writer's drought where movies, basically, a lot of screenwriters, I think, were on strike, and they were just kind of
Yeah,
using
it was
any
like,
rights they had, and they decided to have Fox had the rights to Dragon Ball Z, and they did that.
You mean that coke dealers were were arrested? They were. That was a weird time. So I don't see how you can mess up. I don't see how anybody can mess up a Dragon Ball Z movie.
I get you on that. It's like you had everything there, whether you're familiar with the anime or the comic. This basically, I was talking with another friend about this, because superhero movies have been taken off lately, and the reason is because directors literally have the source material right in front of them. All they have to do is throw a bunch of comics on the table and say, okay, which story do we want to adapt into live action? The story and the characters are there. They just have to take it and make it live action and hire the right actors. How can America screw up a Dragon Ball Z movie when you have the story right in front of you? The technology is good enough for any CG you need. How did you mess it up with the source material already written for you? I don't know how they did it. Hollywood, don't do this with Ghost in the Shell.
As far as they did with Dragon Ball Evolution, I'm starting to like get away from Ghost in the Shell. It's like the only thing they got right was the orange suit and spiky hair, and I was like, he just walk up out of bed.
You say the only thing they got right was his orange gi, his orange outfit, and the hair wasn't even spiky enough for me. But that's not even nitpick.
It wasn't even cool spike.
It was like high school white guy spiked. It wasn't the Goku spiky hair we were used to, but it was close enough, I guess.
That 2000 douchebag look.
Yeah, they really butchered that. Hopefully, Ghost in the Shell will be much better. If anything, Ghost in the Shell should be easier to do because it's not as over the top and crazy as Dragon Ball Z is. It's more scientific, more deep, and more about the story and the gun battles than it is flying and blowing up planets. So.
Oh God, thinking about that. I hope they don't rush the story.
Yeah, I hear
Because
you.
who's gonna be the main villain? This laughing man?
Yeah, I forget the main for Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, the main antagonist was like the laughing man.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know what that was. Like, why is he even doing all this stuff?
Right.
That was like a villain that I could not comprehend because one, it was just an icon. It was just an icon of him, like on the screen, and things was just messing up around, and they was all dealing with the laughing man.
Right.
So I wonder how they're gonna do this. Like, I gotta go watch Ghost in the Shell again. But
Yeah.
God, which one are they gonna stick with? Because there's like, isn't there like 3 arcs of Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah, it's like Ghost in the Shell, and then Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, and then Ghost in the Shell something or other, and then they had like 2 animated movies. I haven't watched any of them in years, so I barely remember anything. I'm gonna have to go back and watch them before the movie comes out. But when you say you hope they don't rush it, I feel you on that, because I feel like when you adapt anything into a 90-plus minute film, or basically 2 hour or less film, you're gonna miss story elements, and you're gonna miss things that was in the source material. And
So
it's
probably-
basic, yeah,
Yeah, it's probably gonna like jump right into the situation.
right.
Starting off.
Yeah, it's definitely, we're gonna have to keep our hopes up. How do I word this? I'm cautiously optimistic. I believe it can be good if they do it right. So Ghost in the Shell live action, it could be good. I think it has hope.
Yeah. Hopefully, because like the whole movie thing, there's like a lot of things that like take out to fit into that movie.
Right.
So like we may see some character development with Major, but not a lot to where people feel like to get the gist of like where she's coming from and like what she's here for.
Right.
They're not going to get like we're not going to get to see her outside of her police stuff or anything like that because it's a movie.
Right, because of time constraints, they're probably going to cram in an origin story like in the middle of the film or at the beginning. And we won't really get to see the development that you get to see from a 20-plus series or animated series. So it's definitely going to be weird.
Now, who was that one ugly dude that used to hang out with her a lot? He had like
With the white eyes. He had white eyes, didn't he?
those were white eyes. I thought those were glasses stuck into his stuck on his eyeball.
I never knew what they were. I think they're just like periscopes or telescopes. I don't know what those are.
Oh God.
Well, who you think they could get to play him? I say like Vin Diesel or something, some big burly dude.
of disgusting looking dude, man.
If they even have him. Like you say, how they have to cut story elements, they might not even have him work with her for this live action film. I'm like, man, just stick to the movie. Get a sidekick for her, man.
Yeah, you gotta have that, like the spiders, like that blue robot thing. Weren't they called the spiders?
I think so. Yeah, sound familiar.
Great. Now I gotta go watch Ghost in the Shell.
I am too. It's been too long. I have to go rewatch. I'll be watching it right with you. I'll probably do a review on here for anybody who's interested in it. So I'm gonna definitely maybe rewatch the first series, watch one of the movies.
Cool. Yeah. All right, man.
All right, thanks for the call, Martez. I appreciate the support.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Thanks again.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Yep, so Ghost in the Shell. If you're familiar with the series, if you're not familiar with it, go check it out. You can find it online. I forget who actually had the rights to dub it, so you may have to Google that. Funimation may have had it, or Viz Media, I'm not sure. But definitely check it out. Really cool, intricate, sci-fi type series. Not a lot of action, more deep, intricate thoughts and, thought-provoking conversations they have. And the gun battles and the fights are pretty good, but I barely have any memory of it. But I'll check it out, and give you a more in-depth review of it maybe next week. So if you're familiar with the series, or you want to discuss anything we talked about tonight, or maybe bring up your own discussion, give me a call down here at 313-868-0331, and just give me your opinion or your take on whatever we discussed tonight. We talked from Dragonball Super to Ghost in the Shell live-action movies, America's take on live-action, and even nostalgia. Do you feel like you've been seeing too many things from your past, and like the love of it you had then is being ruined now because you're seeing it again? Is kind of what it is, whether it's media, TV, movies, even I just watched a Rush Hour. Remember the movie Rush Hour? Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. They made a Rush Hour series, TV series. I'm like, why? This is 10 years too late. It's not even Jackie Chan or Chris Tucker. It's weird. I don't know why they did it, but, nostalgia. Things from the past are coming back even to modern days. With as far as technology is, you can do it now. You can stream you can stream old TV shows, old cartoons, right from Netflix, whatever your outlet is, you can stream it right there. So, yeah, that's great. But Ghost in the Shell, really deep series. Check it out if you want. It's really great. You can find it online. Maybe you able to buy some of the Blu-rays or DVDs. Definitely check it out. Now, another series we discussed, we have about 15 minutes left, so any more opinions and calls, give me a call down here, 313-868-0331, or you can tweet me at BIGBADADA. That's Big Badada. So let me know your take on whatever you have on your mind tonight. Another series that we've been talking about almost every week now is one of the new anime to come out this season is Boku no Hero Academia, or My Hero Academia, which it translates as. Really great series about superheroes. So if you're familiar with Japanese anime, they don't really do superheroes. It's been a real recent thing that they've really dived into American style superhero shows. And just like One Punch Man, which we discuss a lot, this series kind of takes that same route, but it does it in a different way. So don't compare Boku no Hero Academia to One Punch Man. It has its similarities, but it is a great series on its own. It's a really, if you want to compare it to One Punch Man, I'll do this. One Punch Man had the hype. Boku no Hero Academia has the emotional and just like this connection with this weaker main character who's slowly getting stronger, or an underdog story, which a lot of shonen comics are known for, shonen comics and anime. So if you like that field, definitely check out Boku no Hero Academia. But if you like just comedy and over-the-top hype action, One Punch Man is where it's at. It's not really, there's maybe one episode that got really emotional, one of the weaker superheroes fighting this strong villain, and how the crowd of people were supporting him, even though they knew he'd probably get killed or be defeated by it, but they supported him. But that was probably the only one emotional episode that really touched you if you were watching it. But My Hero Academia, between the main character himself having this goal he wants to achieve and not being basically born with the burden of never being able to achieve this, because in this universe basically humans have mutated to where everybody who's born is born with this a certain quirk or a certain power they get by the time they hit age 3. So they get fire power, lightning vision, or whatever type of superhero power they get. Almost I think they said 80% of humans are born with one, and this main character was not born with one, and growing up like that in a world like this is definitely hard for him. And he has this dream of being a hero, but he has no power. So it's really deep. He's really passionate about this, but being born with no quirk, no power, he is difficult, and he struggles with trying to fit in and basically trying to achieve this goal. And definitely check it out. It's only 3 episodes in. They don't have it dubbed in English yet, so you have to read the subtitles. But the soundtrack is amazing. The animation and the art style feels very, very Saturday morning cartoon. It's like it's bright, vivid, and fluid. Every time they move, every time they speak, it's really nice to look at. And the soundtrack, I have to give the soundtrack is due credit. It is amazing. It will hit you right in the heart. Every time you hear an emotional scene, it's this powerful live orchestration that comes on. And I got a thing for live orchestrated music. I come from a very musical family. 7 of us, we all played instruments or sing. I'm the only one that really, I can do both, but I choose not to. I prefer speaking and doing public deeds, with speaking with people in public, and more of a technical type of person. Between games and anime, clearly you can see me doing this tonight. But, you know, live orchestrated music is something I really appreciate. And when in an anime or cartoon or movie, you can hear that, and it really conveys the emotion going on in that scene, it'll hit you. And that's the science of, honestly, like movie production and directing. You have to have a good score to go with this emotional scene. And this anime really does it properly. My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia, definitely check it out. It is a great series. It's definitely going to be something good. And when I first brought this up about 2 weeks ago on AniMonday nights, I said they're probably going to do 13 episodes. In fact, it's already confirmed that they're only going to do 13 episodes. And I'm not feeling that. I want it to go on. From what I've seen so far, the comic is further. So if you're familiar with the comic or want to read that, it's probably about 80 chapters in, while the anime only has about 3 episodes so far. But it's going to only have 13 episodes, and I really believe it has the potential to have a lot more. So definitely check that out. On to another series that has a new season this spring is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I talk about that a lot. The name alone is enough for you to understand. I can't describe it. You have to watch it. It is an over-the-top, really American type of Japanese show. Like, even the sound, the score, the musical score, the intro scene, they have like a song from the band Yes, full English. It's like Japanese people really love American culture, and this show, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, really incorporates a lot of American culture, almost more than you'd recognize. It takes place in like London. Each season is a new location, and it's about the Joestar family and this demon that they have to fight. Every generation of the Joestar, every son, has to fight the reincarnation of this demon named Dio, and it comes in different forms. It's nuts. You have to check it out. It's called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And don't let the art style fool you. It has a real old-looking art style, but the animation and the fight scenes are great, and the comedy is top-notch. And the art style will fool you into thinking it isn't a mature series. It gets pretty gruesome and dark. Like, this season in particular, I did not expect what this villain was doing. The first villain they're interacting with for the first 3 episodes. I knew he was a bad guy. Clearly, he was like a serial killer or whatever and did a lot of bad things. But it gets a lot worse, apparently. So check out JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's not too bad. No nudity or anything like that. But it gets gruesome as far as gore, and not a lot of vulgarity, not a lot of curse words or whatever. But it gets pretty dark. So definitely check that out. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I don't believe it's dubbed yet, so you'd have to read the subtitles. You can find it on Crunchyroll.com or KissAnime.com. You can find the Crunchyroll app. If you have any next-gen system, whether it's a Wii U, PS3, PS4, even Xbox One, Xbox 360, you can download the Crunchyroll app and stream a lot of anime, new season anime, older animes, and even some Japanese and Korean drama shows, like live-action drama. Really worth checking out. Definitely check out the Crunchyroll app. And last but not least, I want to talk a little bit more about my trip to Japan. As you all know, I say this every week in case anybody's curious about my trip. Back in October, I went on a 2-week stay in Japan. I went from Tokyo to Kyoto, all within a week and a half. It was a really amazing experience, and I really like to tell this story because just like a lot of some of these listeners are listening to me right now, I grew up in Detroit, and games and anime were my thing, and Japan was always a dream of mine. I never thought realistically, I was like, I want to go there, but I don't, that's impossible. I used to think it was impossible. Nothing is impossible. If you believe and you put the work into it, you can do whatever you want. Whether it's going to Japan, whether it's going to Italy, London, whatever your passion is, work toward it and make it happen. I spent about $200 for a passport, saved up $2,000 for the plane ticket and different hotels rooms. I went with my uncle. He was on a tour with his band, Faron Aklaf. You can Google him. He's an amazing drummer. and he does a trio tour with his group every year, and they go to Japan. They travel to Europe too, but I decided to tag along with him to Japan, and it was an amazing experience. Never think you can't go here. It's definitely possible. And their culture loves America so much. Like, it's kind of like the grass is always greener type situation. We look at them and it's like, oh, Japanese culture is so great, and they look at us like, oh, American culture is so great. So they really appreciate our culture as much as we appreciate theirs. And even when you go there, I'm not fluent in Japanese. I can speak enough. I spoke well enough to get by for those 2 weeks. Even I took it in ninth grade for 1 year, and just watched a lot of anime and studied on my own for a bit. And I even bought a handbook just to help with a lot of words and phrases that I needed while I was there. But they're so Americanized. A lot of them speak English, and even signs and building logos and stuff are in English or have English letters and characters. So you can manage. Even if you're not fluent in the language, you can manage there. One of the phrases I used a lot was "sukoshi hanasemasu." That basically means I speak a little Japanese, a very little Japanese. So if they'd ask me like, "Nihongo desu ka?" That means, do you speak Japanese? I'd be like, how do you apologize? I say "iie," which means no. "Iie sukoshi hanasemasu." I speak a little Japanese. So like, I got the pronunciation down, but I didn't know every type of word. I could tell time. I could ask for a fork and knife. And you think they use a lot of chopsticks there, but they actually have average utensils for a lot of tourists. But it was a really great experience. And I just like to tell one quick story about every week. I like to tell a story about my trip because, if you have a question about my trip, give me a call, 313-868-0331. And I'll just give you this story right before we go. I was in Kyoto, and in Kyoto they have a lot of temples, and it's really kind of a suburban type of town. It's really beautiful. Like, if you've seen Kyoto in different anime and manga, it really looks like that. From the huge river going down the middle, and then the two sides that's up on a hill of sidewalk and houses, it really looks like that. If I could show pictures, I would. I took a lot of pictures. It was a really amazing sight. And I caught the bus up to one of these temples, and you get a lot of stares when you're like the only black guy in Japan. They don't get us very often, so they're polite and everything, but they definitely like to look at you and ask questions, and it was nice. I loved every bit of it. And I was standing on the bus. It was really packed that day. I think kids had just gotten out of school, and this older lady who just decided to hold a normal conversation with me in Japanese, and I wasn't understanding any of it. I was just nodding my head and saying hi, which means yes, or wakarimasu, which means yes, I understand. And I wasn't getting a lick of anything she was saying. I was just kind of smiling and nodding, and other people were just kind of laughing and giggling. I was like, yes, wakarimasen. I whispered to somebody next door to me, like, wakarimasen. That means I do not understand. But, they all enjoyed it. They appreciated my time. And their culture is they're very appreciative to people who can take time out to really learn their language. And they find it very respectful when tourists or people from out of town or out of over the seas actually can come there and use their utensils, use their chopsticks eloquently and efficiently, and even speak their language, whether it's a little or a lot. They really appreciate that. They're really a respectful culture, and that's one thing I love about them. They have this high standard of quality, whether it's in their work, in their media, whatever they do it at a very high standard. And it's really great going there and seeing how efficient they are in everything they do. Even their transit system. They apparently, like, if you get on a train and if it has any sort of delay on your way to work, whatever, if there's a duck crossing the trail tracks and they have to stop for 5 minutes, no matter what the scenario is, the conductor will come out of the, what is it called, cockpit? No, that's for planes. I forget what a caboose, whatever it is on the train. He'll come out and personally apologize to every passenger. He'd walk to each passenger in the row and say, sorry for the inconvenience, we'll begin momentarily. And he'd walk to the next one, sorry for the inconvenience. And they don't have to do this. He could easily say it over the intercom, but they prefer a real personal interaction with people there. And that's something a lot of cultures can really learn from, especially here in Detroit, where, a lot happens here. I love this city. I love being here. I love supporting my hometown. But, we should speak to each other more. Next time you're on the bus, next time you're walking down the street, just speak to the person you walk by. Say, hey, how you doing? That's something we don't do as a culture and as a people enough. As humans, honestly, we don't speak to each other. And Japanese culture, they really do that. So I appreciate you guys listening to me tonight. This has been AniMondays with me, Rodney Tompkins. You can find me on Twitter at Big Badada. That's BIGBADADA. Find me on Facebook, Rodney Tompkins. Even my YouTube channel if you want to watch me play clips of. I'm beginning to live stream any gameplay I do for Smash Bros or any games I have. So Big Badada Badada. What is my YouTube? Big Badada 2012. You can find me on YouTube. You can find tournament matches I've done for Smash Bros. Definitely check me out. This has been AniMonday Nights with your host, Rodney Tompkins. We do this every week, 7 to 8. Tune in next week. Sayonara.
More music.
More variety.
88.1 FM.
WHPR.
FM 88.1 WHPR. Highland Park.
Could I interest you in a slow jam? Are you ready? Let's slow jam.